They had one of the most passionate romances of the 21st century. At 80 years old, he wept as he watched an old film of hers, whispering, "This was love, this was true love." Laurence Olivier and Vivien Leigh could not have had a more tumultuous romance than if they were Scarlett O'Hara and Rhett Butler. After meeting, Leigh declared that she would one day marry Olivier, and so the feisty femme fatale got her way. Both were already married when they met, but they gave in to temptation after becoming friends on the set of Fire Over England. After living together secretly for 3 years, they wed in 1940, announcing their nuptials to the world the very next day. Dubbed the King and Queen of the theatre, Olivier and Leigh were truly show business royalty, a dazzlingly glamorous couple. They were as happy in front of the cameras as they were off. They were happy to just simply be together, regardless of where they were in the world.
Been given the most wonderful time by all our friends and by everybody in America. But as usual, we're more than happy to be home. Thank you so much for allowing us to speak to you.
I do agree with that, and I want to wish everybody a very, very happy Christmas.
Olivier and Leigh were at their happiest in the 1940s, even in the face of World War II. They would often entertain theatre luminaries Noel Coward, Orson Welles, and Marlene Dietrich. They were always well received by international notaries and were often treated like dignitaries.
That they come from the land that we consider always as the cradle and the master of so many of the arts, I'm sure we will all think that they are especially treasured possessions.
The star couple were treated to dedications in their name and messages of thanks from international celebrities. It was said of the pair of them that they always seemed desperate to be alone together. Their passion was constant. Leigh's sensuality, wit, and vigor opened up a new part of Olivier. A friend said that he went from being a rather dull chap to a bon vivant after he met the magnetic Vivien Leigh. And in him, Leigh found a mentor, a kindred spirit, and someone to help push her even further in her career. However, cracks began to appear in the relationship in 1944. Leigh had worked herself to the point of exhaustion, and after a fall on the set of Antony and Cleopatra, she suffered a miscarriage, which led to a deep depression. Soon after, during an on-stage return, she came down with tuberculosis. While Olivier became king of the London stage, Leigh was ill, exhausted, and still depressed. She was never able to reach Olivier's dizzying heights after her protracted break from work, and she began to feel unworthy of him. Leigh, having always been the most volatile in the relationship, began to have even more erratic mood swings. She was eventually diagnosed with manic depression, while Olivier sought refuge in his dazzling work. During a 1948 tour of Australia, Leigh confessed to Olivier that she no longer loved him. Olivier later wrote, "I felt as if I had been sentenced to death. The central force in my life, my heart in fact, had been removed." Leigh's mental health became increasingly unstable. In the early 1950s, she had another miscarriage and underwent electric shock therapy, as well as being placed in a mental institution and having an affair with actor Peter Finch. Olivier eventually left Leigh in 1958 and married actress Joan Plowright. However, when news reached him in hospital that Leigh lay dying, he immediately checked himself out of his own hospital and rushed to be by her side. Shortly before her death, Leigh recounted that she would rather have lived a short life with Laurence Olivier in it than a long life without him.